If writing feels like a bit of a chore right now, stick around because I'm going to tell you how to spark that creativity and get back to writing. The first thing I want to say is you are not alone. Every writer has gone through some sort of creative slump or a point in which they're not motivated, and this could happen with a certain amount of frequency. The good thing is this motivation is not some sort of mystical force that you have to try and discover. It is something that can be cultivated with the right strategy. And the other thing to keep in mind is it's going to take some trial and error. What works for one writer is not going to work for another writer, so what works for me is not going to necessarily work for you. This is something that will take a little bit of time to experiment with and see what works best for you. So I'm going to give you a plethora of tips to choose from, and you can see what ends up helping your motivation. Also, I have a couple weird ones at the end of the list, so make sure to stick around to the end of the video where I talk about some odd ways to get that motivation going. Number one is to break your big goal into smaller goals. So if we're talking in the context of writing a novel, it can be a very long process and there's a lot of pages to write. So instead of just sitting down and thinking about, well, I need to work on my book today, I need to work to get to my 300 pages of this book, instead, break that into smaller, achievable goals. So maybe your goal is to finish this chapter that you're writing on. And once you do that, you can celebrate and have this success feeling. Or maybe it's not even that big. Break it into smaller goals and say, I just want to finish this one scene, or I just want to finish this one paragraph. Sit down, make a small goal, something that feels achievable. And that way, when you hit that goal, you feel a bit of success, which will in turn keep you going and keep you motivated. Something that can be useful here is to make a checklist. So if you know that you want to get to the end of the first act of your book, write out how many chapters that is roughly that you think. And every time you complete a chapter, you can knock that off your list and physically cross it off, which can also feel good. The key here is to celebrate. So you're not just blowing past all of these small milestones. You take the time to feel the success and feel that you have accomplished something. Number two is to go somewhere fun. So writing should be fun. And when it doesn't feel like fun, maybe you can change your environment a little bit to help it feel a little bit more energetic. So this could even be just putting on a candle you like the smell of, or putting on relaxing music that helps you get into the writing mood. But I find it particularly helpful if you leave your house and go somewhere else in public, like the library. Choose a room that has a lot of nice windows to it, or a coffee shop. Get one of your favorite teas or coffee, something that you can drink while you're working on your book. This environment change can give a little bit of a spark to help you get motivated. In addition, when you leave your house, sometimes that's enough to just say, well, I've made the effort to be here, so I might as well put on my laptop. Whereas when you're at home, you can get distracted and there's so many different things you could be working on, like the laundry or dishes or whatever else is distracting you. But when you go somewhere intentional with doing your writing, then you have made that effort and you have gone over that hurdle. It's going to make it a little bit more easier to get out that laptop and start typing. Number three is to revisit inspiration. So oftentimes there will be a few different areas that have inspired us to write this specific story. So revisit that. What did inspire you? Was it a specific piece of media? If it was, go read that book, go watch that movie, read that author, whatever it is that really has sparked something in this project, revisit it and get that motivation back. Other ways you might find inspiration is by going into nature, spending time listening to the birds and being in the plants and environment. That can help bring some inspiration. People watching can be super inspiring. I often end up finding interactions that I want to write about when you're people watching and you see the dynamics between different people. And listening to music for me can be very inspiring also. Just something that either pumps me up or gets me in the mood can be helpful to get that motivation going again. Number four is to build in accountability. So oftentimes when we tell other people that we're going to do something, it adds a little bit more pressure to actually follow through and do that thing. So this can take a lot of different forms as well. Going to writing groups, being a part of writing communities can help each other stay motivated, and when you see other people working on their projects, it encourages you to work on it as well. You could even just tell a friend, you say, I'm going to do this thing and I will check in with you and tell you once I've done that thing. Or if I haven't done the thing, can you please check in with me and we'll have a conversation about it. That external pressure to actually get the goals done can be enough of a motivation to get going on your writing. A couple other ways you can do this is, of course, to hire a book coach. So I am a developmental editor and book coach, and often what I'm doing is helping people stay accountable and helping people reach their writing goals. And so if you are paying someone for this, there is an extra incentive to actually sit down and get those pages written. And if you want to go further, you can publicly declare your goals, so it's not just between a friend and you, but you go blasting on social media that you are going to finish that chapter by the end of the week. And that is another way to have that external pressure and motivation to get going and get into the groove again. Number 5 is to reconnect with your why. Why did you start this project? What motivated you to start writing in the first place? What is so inspiring for you about this story that you want to get it into the hands of readers? What is your overall goal and why is this so important to you? Spend a little bit of time journaling or thinking about why you started this project in the first place. Sometimes that can give us just enough of a boost to get some motivation back and get us writing again. Number 6 is to try some writing exercises. So if you look online, there's millions of writing exercises you can look up, and these are different ways that you can try and implement into your writing. So if there's a specific show don't tell way to practice doing that, you can do that with your characters or with a specific scene that you are working on. And sometimes just this more guided approach or writing exercise can help spark something and get you going again. Number 7 is to review your stats. So if you are a more analytical person, sometimes looking at statistics can be really motivating. And this can be word count, looking at that going up. If you're tracking your daily or weekly word count, that can be super motivating to see that. Also looking at your progress from your overall book. So if you have an estimate of how many chapters the book is going to be, then you can calculate what percentage you are done with your book already and what percentage it will be at when you continue to work and chunk through each of the different parts of your book. This is a way that you can reflect on how much work you've already done, but also reflect on continual progress and how these statistics as they grow is going to get you closer to your goal. And this is also a big one where it's important to celebrate those milestones. So if you hit a certain word count or a certain percentage of your book complete, make sure to celebrate it and tell the people that you love. Okay, now here are a couple of out-of-the-box ideas if these previous ideas did not work for you. And number 8 is to make it a game. So gamify it in some way, either by having a writing streak, by doing writing sprints. Maybe you challenge yourself and get together with a friend and say, we're gonna write, and whoever writes the most amount of words in this certain amount of time gets the winning piece of chocolate or something. Some way to gamify your writing can be helpful. There's also a specific website called For the Words, which I will put in the link in the description below. And this is a specific platform where writing words helps you defeat monsters, level up, and earn rewards. So it's basically like you're playing a video game at the same time as writing, and that can be a really tangible way to see your progress as well. Okay, now this one's really weird, but I'm gonna throw it out there, and it is to use the Wikipedia random article feature. So what we're gonna do is go to Wikipedia, and there's an option on the menu that says random article. Click that, and whatever it is, read a little bit about that and challenge yourself to integrate that into whatever scene that you are writing at the moment. Now, this is something that may or may not stay for your story, and that doesn't really matter. The point is it's getting you going. It's giving you something very concrete that you are going to write about. And that way you're getting creative juices flowing. So it's forcing you to think outside the box, forcing you to think in a way differently than you have previously previously been thinking about this scene. And it's also a fun challenge, so you're challenging your brain to do something different and put these pieces together. So this can be a really great spark of motivation, and it also is just a lot of fun. So again, I want to say that motivation isn't something that you just innately have, it's something that you can help cultivate. I hope these tips have been helpful, and so my ask for you is to turn off YouTube and go write. You've got this. You can write that story. Just sit down, try a few of these things. You can get through your story. It's gonna take slow, consistent progress, but you will get there. Thank you so much for watching, and happy writing.